Hello friends, Dr. Nels here coming to you this week with information about transparency without regret. Hello friends, Dr. Nels here coming to you this week with more information on life, leadership, business, and family, helping you build your values and principles so that you can be the very best version of you. And this week we're coming to you with almost a second part series to Some People Can't Handle the Truth, and now this week, Transparency Without Regret. Because as we said, transparency is built on what three things? I can't hear you.
Trust is built.
How trust is built, and trust is built on three things: transparency, empathy, and consistency. And if you're someone that's been around Nels Lindberg for more than 5 years or so, you would know that I try and work really hard to be wildly transparent. And some would say I'm way too transparent. And some that have been with me or around me know that transparency has created some challenges and issues in the past. But starting in my early years of leading this place, being a worker in an organization since I was in 6th grade, whether it was starting on a farm, another farm, to a feed yard, to chem lab assistant, to first vet clinic, second vet clinic, to here, I had plenty of experiences being the laborer or the worker for someone or for another leader. It always drove me nuts on the lack of transparency from leadership or ownership. And so I wanted to make sure I was always radically transparent in everything as best possible. But what I've learned too over the years, especially in the last few years and just my studies, is sometimes we can be too transparent. So for me, it's about how to destroy the saying I hear, especially in corporate scenarios, you're on a need-to-know basis, which are like heart-stabbing, drive me nuts words. How do we kill that and be wildly transparent without regret or pain or disruption to the system? And as I said in the last episode, some people can't handle the truth, and that's the transparency without regret part. And so for me, for the last 2 to 3 years, I've really worked hard at studying and learning, all right, how do I make sure we are wildly transparent, yet, okay, maybe there's some things that we shouldn't always say. And for example, here at the clinic, we're wickedly transparent about everything. Where we're at today, vets, techs, assistants, front office, practice managers, we're wildly transparent about what's going on. If someone's leaving or being asked to leave, we're wildly transparent about the hiring process and getting the whole team on board with the hiring process, all those things. But sometimes it's an imperfect scenario or situation, and our transparency sometimes in scenarios gets us in trouble, especially when we're dealing with people's lives. But at the end of the day, we want to be wildly transparent so we can simply be trusted all the time. Because we want to have or give 0 reasons for anyone around us to not trust us. We want everyone here, organizations I'm a part of, we have to have wild trust to accomplish our BHAGs, our big, hairy, audacious goals, which the primary one in this one and another organization I'm a part of is strictly changing lives through the work that we do every single day. And if we don't have truths all the time, and we don't have wicked, wild transparency all the time, from top to bottom and bottom to top in an organization, we will not be able to achieve our mission of changing lives through veterinary medicine, or changing lives through production animal medicine. We have to have wild transparency, but as you grow as a leader and a person, we have to think through some things before we have some transparency. Sometimes, because I myself can be too wildly transparent too early on in a scenario that's playing out, that then creates some heartburn. And so I'm not coaching you to withhold information. I'm coaching you to think through things very well in an effort to be wildly transparent, so that you don't create more bumps in the road for yourself. And I'm not going to dive into specifics on things I've been involved in, but it's a fine line, it's a tough line, and if you're like me, you don't want to hide anything as a leader, as a husband, as an owner, as a member of a board. And so I still coach you to be wildly transparent or overly transparent. And if there's an occasional regret, I still believe that's better than decreasing transparency. I don't have all the answers for you on transparency without regret, but be wiser than I have in the past, especially when it comes to other people's lives, but yet steering the ship and being as transparent and forthright with all the information you can at the time, to be as transparent as quickly as possible today. So I hope you've liked this information. Click subscribe here if you like it. Please join us next week. Thanks for being here, friends. We'll see you. Thanks.